CBS News senior national security correspondent Charlie D'Agata joins us now from West Palm Beach. Charlie, we got an incredible amount of detail from General known as Raising Cane, from the ages of the service members involved to the number of aircraft. What stood out to you?
Well, the sheer size of this attack and extraction. You mentioned earlier 150 aircraft that left from 20 different air bases. I think the youngest pilot was 20, the oldest 49. And the way it was layered, he said, he described it as both audacious and discreet, meaning they had to go in there and they took out what's called enemy air defense suppression. That's what they went into do to pave the way for these helicopters. You've seen those images of the helicopters going in. They came in at around 100 feet from the sea. And what happened before that is an array of U.S. fighter jets and aircraft that were brought in. And he told us F-22s, F-35s, F-18s, B-1 bombers, and, of course, a number of drones, in addition to those helicopters. Now, they reached the compound of President Maduro at 1:01. They didn't complete the entire extraction until 3:29. So you're talking about 2.5 hours where you had U.S. troops in a vulnerable situation. And we were also told there were several engagements, both going in and coming out, meaning they took gunfire. Now, our sources have told us today there were a few injuries. Some of those were gunshot wounds. Some of them just injured from doing what is pretty heavy work to try to do this. There's going to be some injuries in that. None of them are life-threatening. All the aircraft returned without losing any aircraft. So it was a multi-layered. He said the United States Air Force, Navy, Marines, Special Forces. This was driven by Delta Force. Those are the people who are responsible for the extraction itself. In fact, there was an elite team that brought them in there, too. So it was done with Drug Enforcement Agency, done with the CIA that provided some of the intelligence, and the boots on the ground, as it were, Delta Force, Army Delta Force, elite rangers who went in there for the extraction itself. We're also told that this massive military buildup that you and I have been discussing, right, for months, will remain in position and poised, was the way they described that there. So not necessarily having a U.S. military presence inside Venezuela, because I know I was listening to Ed and Margaret a few minutes ago. There seems to be a lot of unanswered questions. There are some U.S. Citizens there, and if the Trump administration wants to encourage investment and oil investment, there may be an element of security. We don't know what that is, but if, in terms of what's happening offshore, where there are around 12 warships, including USS Gerald R. Ford, the F-18s that I mentioned earlier that are on board the Ford, the F-35s that are in Puerto Rico. In fact, there are about 15,000 troops